Artists, today you are going to be making a pattern snake. Now you talked a little bit about A-B patterns or A-B-B patterns, all sorts of different patterns, and you are going to create your own patterns on this snake. Now we know a pattern is a line or a shape or maybe even a texture that repeats over and over again. Now I notice when I look at my snake that there's two kinds of lines. The first line I see is this dark black line that spirals around to make my curvy snake. The second line I notice are these little dashed lines. Those little dashed lines making stripes on my snake are showing where my different patterns are going to go. So I'm going to have to be a very creative artist today and come up with lots of different patterns. One pattern I could do is polka dots. So using your crayons or your markers or your colored pencils, whatever you have with you today, you are going to fill up your snake with different patterns. The first pattern I'm going to do is polka dots. Another pattern that I know is stripes, and I think my pattern is going to be a purple and a red stripe. I'm going to do an A-B pattern. So I'm going to do purple, red, purple, red. I'm filling up this little space in between those two dashed lines with my purple and red crayons. My next pattern, what could I do? Maybe I could do some squares. I'm going to use my orange crayon and make some squares. A pattern is maybe even just a repeated shape. I'm going to have big squares and little tiny squares and big squares and little tiny squares, and filling up this space with the pattern of squares. Artists, you are going to fill up your whole snake with different patterns. All right, artists, when your snake is filled with different kinds of patterns in each of those spaces, I thought about lines for my patterns. I see straight, wavy, zigzag, dotted, dashed. You've thought about shapes like polka dots, hearts, squares, circles, and you've thought about color. I see red, purple, red, purple, red, purple, or green and blue, dark and light, pink and red. When you've thought about how to create lines with patterns with lines, shapes, and colors, and you filled in your snake, you're ready to cut. Now your scissors is going to have to go very carefully on that black line. Go slow like a snail all the way around. If you make a mistake and there's a little accident and something gets cut, that's okay. Just raise a quiet hand and your teacher will use a little bit of tape and do some pattern snake surgery. Not a problem. One thing you're going to want to do though before you start cutting is write your name. Now only write your name with a piece of a pencil or a crayon, and you want to kind of get it in the middle so that when you cut your snake out, you know where your name is. So Mrs. C, and my class code is going to go on the back towards the middle of my paper so that when I cut out my snake, I can see my name and the patterns. Artists, I can't wait to see these awesome pattern snakes. I had so much fun making up new patterns to show you.